Hey guys, thanks for following along. In this video, you're going to see some aspects of kind of like what a deployment looks like. So this video is kind of going to give you sort of an overview of getting deployed out, being in camp, and maybe a couple of jobs or some events that happen on a daily basis while we're in camp. So this is kind of an overview of what it would be like to be on the hurricane with us. We appreciate you guys watching. Follow along.
So one of our goals on our hurricane deployments is to get our team to the affected area as quickly as possible so that they can begin the restoration efforts right after the storm hits. So when we set up our base camp, we try to stage just outside of the affected area. That way our team has a safe place to stay so they can go and begin restoring the communications. So for Hurricane Milton, we set up our base camp in Bradenton, Florida at a parking lot of a new industrial facility. This gives us plenty of room to park our entire convoy, including our semi-trucks and all the pickups that the guys use, so we have plenty of space to set up base camp and make sure that everyone has room to park. And the biggest upgrade to our base camp is the addition of the canopy that goes on the side of the original sleeping trailer. And what's great about the canopy is it gives us a nice big space where we can put our tables, eat dinner, do some work when we're back at base camp, and there's plenty of room for everyone to go in, and it's air conditioned so it feels good inside. So if it's hot outside, you can go in the canopy and it feels nice and cool. It gives us a great space to work, eat, and do whatever else we need to do. Another upgrade that seems relatively small but has actually been a really big improvement for base camp is the change of generator. So if you've seen some of our other videos, you know that we have generators in our sleeping trailers. And originally the base camp was powered off the generator that was inside the original sleeping trailer. But now that we have the canopy set up and we're a lot closer together in camp, we wanted to make sure that the inside of the canopy was quieter. So now the entire base camp, including both sleeping trailers and the buses, are powered off of a single portable generator that's parked on one of the landalls. And what's great about this is it allows the inside of the canopy and the sleeping trailers to be a lot more quiet since there's more separation from the generator to the actual sleeping areas. In the past, we've showed our equipment trailer and how in the front we have this refrigerated area where we can keep all of our drinks and extra food cold. One of the upgrades that we've made this year is we've added a walk-in cooler system, and if you're interested, you can check out the video right here. This is another thing that helps to keep our base camp a lot quieter because the reefer unit on the front of the trailer is significantly louder than the walk-in cooler. And over past the sleeping trailers, we have our tanker.
Basically on hurricanes, just like Dad's talked about before, whenever we come into a town or a place, we don't want to be a burden on the people that are living here and already trying to rebuild their community. So we bring our own fuel, lets us have the fuel so that we can get into theater and then out of theater safely and without impacting the community. We can fill up all the tower climbing guys' pickups, all of our pickups, all the guys that are going out each day to check on tower sites, to fix tower sites, to do the work that we come here to do. Every day they come back, we fill them up. We also bring the fuel to fill up the generators that we put on sites.
And when we get down here and we find out we need generators at different tower sites, we deploy generators out, take them out and hook them up. Not every one of them is the same. There's several different things we got to take into account whenever we're going to deploy these generators, like how many tails we're going to need, whether we're going to need turnarounds or T's. If we're hooking up multiple things in one generator, how big the generator needs to be, what kind of power is being called for. We make sure we have everything we need before we leave base to go to the site to be able to ensure the customer has power when we leave there.
Okay, so what we do, typically we come into an area and we quickly assess what's going on with the customer. That involves working with our local service teams, our partners, our different managers in the area, and we try to figure out what kind of problems there are. If the site has an issue, a storm of 120 or 30 miles an hour could twist antennas or microwave dishes, which creates our path to get the communications between the sites. When we're out here, you start early in the morning, start assessing the situation as soon as the light comes up. The teams are working 12 to 14 hours a day. Part of that process of tracking all the information, not only do we have to find out where the sites are at based on the information we have to make sure we can get to those sites safely. We have to identify what is going on at those sites, the problem that we're having. We take the action to correct the issue that's there. And we're able to quickly assess the problem. And once we assess the issue or the problem, find the equipment we need to restore that issue and send it to the team so they can work on the problem and get it corrected.
So we got a report from the customer that we've got a path down to one of the sites down here in Florida. First thing we're doing when we get on scene is start to assess the situation of the compound, right? So we got guys running drones up.
When we get to a site, one of the first things that we got to do is make sure that the site is safe to climb, make sure that we can identify any cables that are loose, broken things, bolts missing that might be a structural thing, not safe for the tower crew to climb it. that's kind of the first thing. But also while we're here, we want to check everything out and get some of that for our own records. One
of the things that Jay and I are going to do is go in there and take a look at the received signal levels on the microwave, see just how bad our path is degraded this morning. We're going to find the azimuth, where the dish should be pointing, the height that is on the tower. You know, most of these towers have multiple dishes. So first thing we got to do is figure out where we're going, how bad it is, and what we're going to do to fix it. After that, we'll do a safety briefing with the team, make sure we all know what our parts are, and we'll get them up the tower and we'll get that sucker lined back up.
We were at a site yesterday and we lined back to this site. And so what we're doing now is we're going to line this dish back at the site that we were at yesterday. We're going to do that, then we're going to move on to making sure there's other paths and link. We also straightened out an antenna on the tower, so we're in good shape here. And then we're going to move on to another site.
We've got our initial readings. This is our voltage or our received signal strength readings. So we're kind of high right now. It shows the path's degraded about 1.4, 1.45 volts. So this will come way down as we start swinging this in. This number will change dramatically as they start rotating the dish through the path. And we should see that number when we start hitting the sweet spot. Should come down to, Jay, what would you say, about 0.82, 0.89, somewhere in there, hopefully?
Yeah, 0.8, 0.9.
So as he's making adjustments, you see how the number's going up and down? Every time he makes a little tweak, he's bouncing the signal and then it comes back to rest. And so we're looking at what it comes down to. But they'll just keep working it until we get to some of the best numbers we can. We'll work it vertically, and we'll work it horizontally, and we'll go back and work it vertically again. And we keep narrowing that number down. All right, so we're wrapping up at the site here. Just got done lining the path, getting it in as tight as we could at this point. We'll get one end pathed in as tight as we can, get the best readings we can, and then we'll have to drive 10, 20, 30 miles, depending on the type of path, to the other end of it, the coordinate end, and basically do the whole thing all over and get the best received signal levels we can. So that's what we're doing here. We're closing out here, got this one tightened up as much as we can. Looks really good. Jay and the United Tower guys did a fantastic job.
So one of the next improvements that we've done is we've tried to make things a little bit easier on Stan. Stan feeds between 40 and 60 people a day for every meal, so it's important for us that we get him the best possible facilities in this temporary environment. We've got him set up in between the trailers with a canopy, and he has his tables and all of his food prep areas set out. Having that infrastructure correct for him is important because, man, he's busting it out, taking care of us, and there's nothing like a hot meal after you've been working really hard or have a really hearty meal. Stan's really intentional on making sure it's carb loaded and that, because those tower climber guys, man, they're killing it working hard. So that's really important that we've got that infrastructure for Stan to make it as easy as possible on him.
Our whole goal is to restore public safety communications as quickly as possible. Our customers rely on this so they can talk and communicate and help the community that they're serving. There's a lot goes into tracking it, documenting everything, making sure that we account for all the work that's being done, the crews that are out there. It's a pretty involved effort. We work pretty hard for several days or a week or even longer.
We appreciate you following along this year on Hurricane Milton. If you've liked the video, send it to somebody, like and subscribe. Maybe you'll have it in their feed for next year's hurricane season. We'll have other videos coming up on other things that we're doing all through the year. We appreciate you following along. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media platforms. And again, as always, thanks for watching.